Why kindness makes people disrespect you. Imagine for a moment a life where your kindness flows freely, yet your energy is never depleted, where your heart is open but your boundaries remain strong. What if you could give to others without losing yourself in the process? Today we're going to explore a truth that many overlook. Kindness, when given without self-respect, can lead to unintended consequences. It's time to break free from the misconception that kindness means sacrificing your worth. Join me in discovering how you can show up for the world while protecting your own happiness and self-respect. Let's begin this powerful journey together. Number 1. The misinterpretation of kindness as weakness. In our lives, we are constantly encouraged to be kind, to show compassion, and to treat others with respect. These are admirable qualities that contribute to a more peaceful, harmonious world. However, the reality is that in many cases, kindness is not always seen for what it truly is. Instead, it is often misinterpreted as a sign of weakness, and this can lead to unintended consequences. When we go out of our way to be kind, to help others, or to make sacrifices for the benefit of someone else, we can inadvertently signal to others that we are willing to be taken advantage of. People may begin to see our willingness to give without expecting anything in return as an opportunity to push boundaries, test limits, and sometimes exploit our generosity. The truth is, kindness should never be mistaken for a lack of strength. In fact, it takes far more strength to be kind with boundaries, to maintain your integrity while offering compassion, than it does to give endlessly without care for your own needs. Kindness should not mean compromising your values or allowing others to walk all over you. Yet when we fail to set boundaries and make it clear that we value ourselves as much as we value others, our kindness may be seen as weakness. People may interpret this as an invitation to take more, demand more, or expect more from us than is reasonable. In their eyes, kindness becomes a tool, an advantage they can use, rather than a gesture of goodwill. Think for a moment. How often have you given your time, energy, or resources to someone, only to find that they took it for granted, or even worse, began to expect it from you on a regular basis? That is the result of kindness being misinterpreted. And this does not just happen in small, isolated instances. It is a pattern. People will begin to assume that because you are kind, you can always be counted on to give, to do, to sacrifice. This expectation leads to disrespect. When others see your kindness as a weakness, they cease to value it. They begin to overlook your needs, take your efforts for granted, and disrespect your time and energy. In their eyes, you are someone who will always give, no matter the cost to yourself. This is why it is vital to remember that true kindness doesn't come from a place of weakness. It comes from a place of strength. And strength is about having the courage to show compassion while still standing firm in your beliefs and boundaries. Number 2, the importance of boundaries in relationships. Boundaries are not just about keeping others out. They are about preserving the most valuable aspect of your life, yourself. In relationships, whether with friends, family, or colleagues, boundaries are essential to maintaining mutual respect, personal well-being, and ultimately happiness. Without clear boundaries, kindness can quickly turn into a tool for exploitation, and respect can easily fade into complacency. It's a truth that we often overlook. But setting boundaries is not only a reflection of your own worth, it's a way of ensuring your relationships thrive in a healthy, balanced way. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever given so much of yourself to others that you felt drained, taken for granted, or even resentful? It's easy to get caught in the trap of being overly generous, of constantly saying yes when we know deep down we should say no. But this is a slippery slope. Without boundaries, your kindness loses its value, and over time, you become an extension of others' desires, needs, and expectations, with no time left for your own. This can leave you feeling overwhelmed, undervalued, and ultimately unhappy. Your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being are precious. They are not infinite resources, but often we treat them as if they are. Boundaries allow you to allocate your resources wisely and to prioritize the things that truly matter: your goals, your peace of mind, your happiness. When you fail to set boundaries, you give others permission to consume you without consideration for your needs. This does not mean you stop being kind or caring, but rather that you do so with an understanding that your well-being must come first. Imagine trying to fill a glass with water that has a hole in it. No matter how much you pour in, the water never stays. That's what happens when you give without boundaries. You may pour yourself out for others, but without protection, it will never be enough to sustain you. The power of boundaries is in their ability to create a space where kindness is meaningful, where love and respect are mutual, and where your energy is replenished rather than drained. If you want happiness, you must honor yourself first. You can only give from a place of strength and fullness. So, in every relationship, set clear boundaries that protect your energy, preserve your sense of self, and ensure that your kindness is always given with intention, not out of obligation or fear of rejection. The happiness you seek will come when you protect your own worth and refuse to let others walk all over it. Number 3, human nature and the tendency to exploit generosity. Generosity is a beautiful quality. It's the act of giving, the willingness to sacrifice for others, and the desire to make the world a better place. But if we are being honest with ourselves, we must also recognize that there's a darker side to generosity that we cannot ignore. Human nature is, unfortunately, inclined to exploit what it perceives as an endless source. When you are generous without boundaries, some people will see it as an opportunity to take advantage of your kindness, not as a gift, but as something they are entitled to. This is a hard truth to face, but it is a truth nonetheless. Generosity, if left unchecked, can be perceived as a weakness. The moment your kindness becomes predictable, people may begin to expect it. They will begin to take, and they may take without gratitude, without even considering the toll it's taking on you. We often see this in our relationships with family, friends, or even co-workers. They may not intentionally want to harm you, but when generosity is offered without limits, it becomes a resource for others to use and ultimately exploit. Think about it. How many times have you given without expecting anything in return, only to feel as though your kindness was overlooked, or worse, taken for granted? When you give without boundaries, your kindness becomes an obligation to others. They begin to expect your generosity as though it is owed to them, and with that expectation, respect diminishes. Instead of being a virtuous act, your kindness is now seen as something that is expected, almost like a transaction rather than a selfless offering. This exploitation isn't malicious, it's human nature. People will often take as much as you are willing to give. It's a survival instinct. People naturally look for opportunities to secure their own well-being, often without considering the cost to others. But when you fail to set limits, you become a source to be drained, not someone to be respected. In the pursuit of happiness, this pattern leads to emotional depletion, resentment, and frustration. You give and give, but no one notices the sacrifices, and no one reciprocates. It's important to recognize this cycle, to understand that while generosity is a strength, it must be tempered with wisdom. Your kindness should not be an open invitation for others to take without regard for your needs. When you give with intention and with an understanding that your generosity is not an endless well. Your happiness depends on maintaining a balance between giving and protecting your own worth. If you allow others to take advantage of your generosity, you risk losing yourself in the process. The respect you deserve can only be earned by showing others that your kindness is precious, not a free resource to be exploited. Number 4. The balance between kindness and assertiveness. In a world that often values kindness over all else, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that kindness is the only key to successful relationships, career advancement, and personal fulfillment. But let me remind you of something crucial. Kindness alone is not enough. It must be paired with assertiveness, a quality that empowers you to stand firm in your beliefs, protect your boundaries, and ensure that your needs are met. Think about it. Kindness without assertiveness is like a plant without roots. It might look good on the surface, but it lacks the foundation needed to grow, thrive, and endure. Assertiveness is the stabilizing force that gives kindness its true power. Without it, kindness can be misunderstood, misused, and manipulated. When you are only kind and not assertive, you run the risk of being taken advantage of, disregarded, or overlooked. Let me reset your attention. Assertiveness is not about being aggressive, rude, or confrontational. It's about knowing your worth and acting in a way that commands respect, without diminishing the value of others. Being assertive means having the courage to say no when necessary, to set boundaries that protect your well-being, and to express your needs and desires with clarity and confidence. When you pair kindness with assertiveness, you elevate your relationships, your career, and your life. Now let's talk about happiness. True happiness doesn't come from constantly saying yes or overextending yourself for the sake of others. It comes from knowing that you are living authentically and respecting yourself enough to enforce your own limits. When kindness is unbalanced by assertiveness, it can lead to feelings of resentment, burnout, and frustration. The happiness you seek will remain out of reach if you continue to give without self-respect, if you continue to give into others' demands while sacrificing your own well-being. True strength lies in being able to be kind, yet firm. When you are assertive in a respectful way, you demonstrate your commitment to your own values and priorities, and you also teach others how to treat you. Assertiveness shows that you value your time, your energy, and your happiness enough to protect them. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom and self-respect. So ask yourself, are you balancing kindness with assertiveness? Are you showing up for others without losing sight of your own needs and boundaries? If you want happiness, you must begin with the understanding that kindness is not about self-sacrifice. It's about giving from a place of strength, a place where you honor your own worth and take care of yourself first. Only then can your kindness shine in a way that truly enriches your life and the lives of others. Number 5, why self-respect must come first. Self-respect is the cornerstone of a fulfilling and happy life. Without it, every aspect of your existence can feel hollow, as though you're living to please others rather than honor your true self. If you give without regard for your own well-being, you are, in effect, robbing yourself of the respect you deserve. While kindness is an important value, it must never come at the cost of self-respect. If you consistently place others before yourself, you will inevitably lose sight of your own worth, and with it, your happiness. Reset for a moment and think about your life. Are you putting others' needs ahead of your own at the expense of your peace, your energy, and your time? Are you constantly sacrificing your happiness to keep others happy? We live in a culture that often glorifies selflessness, but this can easily turn into self-neglect if you are not careful. When you continually give without setting boundaries or respecting your own needs, you send the message that you are not worthy of the same kindness and respect you offer others. The reality is, your self-respect cannot come from the approval or validation of others. It must come from within. You must learn to recognize your own worth, and that recognition is reflected in the way you honor your own time, energy, and values. Without self-respect, no amount of external approval will bring true happiness. You can give all you have, but if you do not protect your own dignity, you will never feel the deep fulfillment that comes from living authentically. When you allow others to disrespect you, when you compromise your values, or when you ignore your own needs for the sake of others, you are not showing kindness, you are showing weakness. Weakness is not a trait that attracts respect or fosters happiness. In fact, it breeds resentment, dissatisfaction, and a sense of disillusionment. True happiness, the kind that lasts, comes when you make self-respect a non-negotiable part of your life. You are worthy of the same respect, kindness, and love that you freely give to others. By valuing yourself first, you create the foundation from which you can give and live fully without feeling drained or exploited. When you respect yourself, you teach others how to treat you, and in doing so you open the door to richer, more meaningful relationships and a deeper sense of fulfillment. Your happiness is directly tied to your self-respect. When you make it a priority, everything else will fall into place. Protect your worth, honor your boundaries, and above all, live a life that reflects the respect you have for yourself. This is the key to a truly happy and prosperous life. Kindness is a powerful force, but it must be coupled with self-respect, boundaries, and assertiveness to truly enhance your life and relationships. When you honor yourself, set limits, and protect your well-being, you can offer kindness from a place of strength, not weakness. The balance between generosity and self-respect is key to living a fulfilling, happy life. Remember, your happiness starts with you, your values, your boundaries, and your respect for yourself. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you the wisdom to cultivate the life you deserve. Good luck on your journey to true happiness.